Hello, this is Jamie Magritte. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. So let's get started. I'm going to be using the brush brass butterflies. I have a piece of watercolor paper that's die cut from the largest stitched rectangle. I have a piece of Starry Sky, which is 4 by 5 3/8 of an inch. It has to be the odd size because this rectangle is an odd size, and I wanted just the right amount around it. I have my thick base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I'm using Happiness Abounds. I'm using my stamperatous. Starry Sky, Daffidil Delight, Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party. I'm using those to paint with, so I have put a little bit onto blocks, so I can use those as a paint palette. And then I'm going to be using, I don't need those, Versamark and my gold embossing powder. So let's get started. I've already set up my stamperatous, but what I did, I'll show you. I took my paper and I put it in here, and when this was clean, I set it where I wanted it. And then I picked it up with the door. Okay, then I took this out and I actually stamped it with an actual memento ink so I could know where to put my paper again, although I just put it in the corner. Okay. And then the reason I stamped it here is so I could line up the leaves where I wanted them when this door. I lined up the leaves and the sentiment and picked them up with another door. Okay, so let's go ahead and line this, put this in the corner. Use Versamark, and the reason I'm using this is because it's watercolor paper, it's textured, and I want to be able to stamp a couple of times. So I'm stamping with Versamark ink. Apply some good pressure. Make sure the paper's still in the same spot. Stamp it again. I did like 3 passes. Don't probably need that many, but I didn't want any missed areas because I'm watercoloring and I didn't want that water to ooze out. Okay, one more time. Okay, now I'm going to turn this so you can actually see what I'm doing with the other side. This one's going to open. I'm going to actually remove it. I'm going to ink up these the same way. Excuse me. Whoops, well that's not good. That one just came off, so we'll move that. We'll do these ones. The reason you see a little bit of pink on this one, I don't know if you can see it, is because I had stamped that with a red ink and it stains the stamp. The only time it comes off is if you're using Versamark. Okay, let's move this for a minute. And let's bring this one back in. I want it to go right here. Let's pick this up. Put paper back in there. Well, at least you got to figure out how, see how I did it. I think it's probably good. I'm going to do the sentiment again, just to make sure. Okay, now let's cover up the sink. Take this out of here. Close this up. Put this aside. Let's bring in our embossing, and I should have probably done the embossing buddy before I started, but I forgot, so it's fine. We'll use the gold embossing powder. Pretty good. Alright, let me pour this back in. Okay. One tool I forgot to tell you that we're going to need. Is a heat tool. That's a good flick. Just knock off any that are in the wrong place. Right. I'm going to turn my gun on setting 2. It's got 2 settings. I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. Takes a minute to warm up. There it goes. You're going to melt that one area, and then you're going to move on to the next. Quick once over, make sure everything is melted. You don't want to stay on it too long or it'll melt the powder right into the paper and it won't be shining anymore. Hold my gun up so I don't have a hot gun sitting on my desk. Okay, so that's the base of that. And I just realized I forgot to get water, so I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I got 2 things of water, one to clean your brush with and one for clean water. I'm going to be using 2 water brushes. You can use paint brushes. I don't have the Stampin'Up ones because I already had other ones, so I haven't invested in the Stampin'Up ones. But I've got a regular paintbrush and then this wide one. First I'm going to take the wide one. I'm going to get some water. And I'm going to put water all over the front of this card. Wherever you put the water is where the paint or the ink will go. You want enough water that it's shiny, but not so much water that it's running around. Okay, and you might need to add some more water as we go, but this is a good start. Okay, now we're going to take our other brush and we're going to start in the flower. I'm going to wet my brush and I'm going to pick up some of this ink, and this is the Daffidil Delight. I'm just going to pick it up with the tip of my brush and I'm just going to touch it in the spots in the flower where it is the darkest, where I want it to be the darkest. And if there's enough water on there, it just kind of bleeds and runs into the with the paper. Just kind of takes it and bleeds. So I'm just dabbing this yellow ink. Get the center here. Just tapping that color in. You're not filling the whole thing, you're just tapping it in. And each one's going to be a little different because the way the water moves will be different on each one. I'm going to try and get it pretty good in these fold over areas. I think I left them white on the other one, but okay, if you need to, wash your brush out. Get some fresh clean water and then fill that area with water to get it to bleed a little. If you get too much water, you can go ahead and dab it up with a clean towel. There's no right or wrong, except you're going to see if you for instance, if I put the water here and up to that, it's going to push the paint the other direction and you're going to get a harsh line. So you want to make sure you wet the whole area. Just play with it. You'll figure it out as you go. There's, like I said, there's not really a right or wrong. Okay, then I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this red. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drop in a little bit. And this is that new Sweet Sorbet color. Just dropping in a little bit. Sweet Sorbet. You could stop with just the yellow. That's fine too. Okay. Alright, that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to wash my brush. I'll pick up some clean water. I'm going to make sure these leaves have some water in them. That's a little too much. Another way you can pick up your water is to dry off your brush. And then it will pick up go back in with a dry brush and it will pick up the water and the paint with it. So make sure I get some water on these leaves. And I'm going to pick up the green. I'm going to go ahead and put the green in, same way. Just kind of filling it in a little bit more than I did with the flower. A little bit oozes out, that's alright. In fact, I'm going to ooze out a little bit on purpose over here. A little bit over here. Put that leaf in the wrong spot, but that's alright. Okay, now I'm going to pick up just a little bit of this blue. And I'm going to add just... Well, let me bring in this brush first. I want to make sure my background's still wet. So I'm going to come in the background, add some water. I do it with the other brush too, but I already put the blue on it, so. Okay, and then I'm going to start around the edge of the flower. Just let that paint go out. I'm going to help it a little bit, but I want it darkest around the edge of the flower. Okay, I could add some more water on this side. I want some more going over this way. A little bit of dark there, but if I've got too much, then I just pick it up with my towel. I just got a little blue in my rose. I don't want it in there, so I'm just going to pick it up with my towel. Okay, let's turn it this way. Add some more water. Add a little more blue. And this is that new Starry sky color. I really like it. It's alright if a little blue goes in the leaves. Okay, now this is the hardest part. Gotta wait and let this dry. Okay, so I'm gonna set it aside and let it dry, and we'll be back when that is done. Okay, I got tired of waiting for it to dry. It's dried, there's no more puddles, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on one on my heat tool and dry it. Keep it moving though so you don't remelt the embossing powder. Turn it over, dry some from the back. It helps alleviate the warping. I probably should have taped it down, but we're gluing it down anyway, so it should be fine. Whoops. Okay, now, if you see any areas where you want to add some more, even in the flower, you can do that. You just want to make sure anywhere that you put the water, you fill the whole area, otherwise it's going to do a bloom and it'll get a harsh line. See, like here, I added the water on this side afterwards, so it pushed the paint this way a little bit. And so you got this bloom, this kind of hard line. Or here, where I added a little more, it bloomed here. So you don't want to do that. You want to fill the whole area. But I'm going to just add a little bit here where the sympathy is. Just going to add a little bit there. Just so I don't have those splotches, so you can read that a little bit easier. Okay. And I want to make sure this isn't a harsh line here. Okay, then I'm going to bring my heat tool back in and dry that the rest of the way. This line to go all the way to these leaves so that it doesn't look like a harsh line. That was just water. Okay, now let's put this card together. We're going to turn this over. I'm going to use quite a bit of adhesive. I think I'm going to bring in my, I can find it. I used Tombow Mono glue. I think I'm going to bring in the this is Stampin' Seal Plus. Let's go ahead and try this. I want to get all the edges. Make sure you get plenty in the middle. And we're going to center this on this Starry Sky piece. Can't remember the new colors. Now you'll see there's a little bit of glue hanging off the edge here. I'm just going to roll it back on itself. Sticking to my fingers instead of rolling. Roll it back on itself. There we go. I think I got most of it. Alright, there's a piece there. Alright, now let's glue this down, center it up. Press that down well. Let's go. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Okay, then we're going to take our card base. We're going to go ahead and adhere that to the card base. This one you don't need quite as much adhesive. Okay. Go ahead and center that on the front of the card. Okay, then to finish it off, I brought in the brushed brass butterflies. I'll put them in a slightly different place because this leaf is in a different spot. So I'm gonna one large one and one small one here. Another small one over here. Okay, well there's a card for that we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you give this a try. It's really quite easy and it's fun. And I'll see you on the next video.